Was it a mistake for the United States to have gone into Afghanistan with its combat troops back in 2001 after 9/11? Well, we've just updated a long-standing trend where we've asked that question, and at this point we have the highest percent who've said yes in our history of asking this since 2001. 49% say it yes was a mistake, 48% say it was not a mistake, and that net +1 is the first time that we've had more people saying it was a mistake to have gone into Afghanistan than not, although it's still not over a majority level. Look back there when we first asked this question back in November of '01 and January of '02, we had single digits saying it was a mistake. So there was huge support behind going into Afghanistan initially as the U.S. was reacting to 9/11, going after the Taliban in Afghanistan. But over the years now, that support has soured to some degree, but not as much as other wars. Let me give you a comparison. Look at Iraq. Was it a mistake to have gone into Iraq? Well, right now, 57% of Americans say yes, it was on Iraq. That actually is down some. It had been in the 60% range at some point. But clearly, for years now, we have had a majority of Americans saying that it was a mistake to be in Iraq. So Afghanistan has been, if we want to say this, the more popular war than has been the case for Iraq. But at this point, we have at least a plurality saying both of those were a mistake. Now, this question that we asked, was it a mistake, was first asked by Gallup about the Korean War way back in 1950. 20% said that it was a mistake to have gone into Korea in August of 1950, the first time that Dr. George Gallup asked this question, and that was pretty shortly after the U.S. had committed troops after the North Koreans had invaded South Korea. Now, things went well for the U.S. in Korea through that fall, but then there was a reaction. The Chinese came down over the Yalu River into North Korea. The Americans got bogged down in a horrible winter, and by the time Gallup asked the question again in January of 1951, 49% of Americans said that it was a mistake to have been involved in Korea. So you can see the big change there that occurred very shortly. I might mention Vietnam. Initially, Americans did not say it was a mistake, but by the summer of 1968, a few months after the Tet Offensive, we first had a majority of Americans who said it was a mistake to have been involved in Vietnam. And basically ever since, when we've asked that question about Vietnam, a majority, and sometimes more than a majority by a significant range, say that it was a mistake for the U.S. to have been involved in Vietnam. That's an update for you on Americans' attitudes towards several military involvements since World War II on the part of the United States. I'm Dr. Frank Newport, Gallup Editor-in-Chief.